lovelies, it's Kate. Welcome back to another speed build. I decided to build a modern and kind of minimalistic mansion on a 64 by 64 lot in Del Sol Valley. So this is just another mansion for Judith, who happens to live on this lot. I've created so many houses on this lot and she lives there. So someone actually pointed this out and said, oh my god, another mansion for Judith. And yes, I'm building on this lot again. And yeah, I mean, I never play, I just build and I just play test a little bit. So I don't know, she never really actually gets to enjoy these mansions, I guess. However, I decided to build this big pool and another pool, and I added some type of sunken area where I added a hot tub. If you want to do this yourself, just make sure that you leave enough room around your hot tub so it's functional. And then I raised another foundation section and I simply connected my different foundation heights by using stairs. So we cannot connect foundations of different heights, but you can utilize stairs and the terrain tools to do a bit of foundation magic. And here I raised 3 different foundation pieces. They all have different heights, and as you can see here, I filled in the gaps using the terrain tool. And this is just for decoration. These are just some super fancy modern flower beds, so they don't serve any purpose. They just look nice. And I worked with a lot of different levels for the whole build technically, and I wanted this to look special. And this here is a base game debug object. You can find it by activating the bb.showLive edit objects cheat, and it's just some type of flower bed as well. And I just placed it there, and I decided to have a different floor color underneath and not just grass, so it really stands out and you can just see this rounded shape, which is really beautiful. And initially, as you just saw, I built 2 pools, but then later on I decided to only have 1 pool for proper swimming, and the other one is just like some type of fountain. And I used a Get Famous debug object to reduce the water depth basically, and I don't know, just wanted to have something special. The whole layout is really simple. It's like really minimalistic, and I was going for this super clean and simple style, but at the same time I wanted this to look interesting, so I was trying to add a couple of fun ideas here and there. And I used the tool mod in combination with these other living glass floors. For me, this is the absolute eye catch of this build. I built a huge kind of corridor on top of the build, and I used a lot of them. And once I figured out how to kind of rotate them correctly and how to make it look nice, I used a lot of them in the whole build basically. So again, the whole build is really simple. There is almost no decoration on the walls, so I really tried to use these other living glass floors to make this look really fancy and interesting. I don't know if any of you can relate, but sometimes you see a picture of a house, you see a certain architectural style and you think, oh my god, this would look so cool in The Sims, and then you try to nail the style, but it's not working out. It just looks different. You can't translate the style to this game, and then suddenly you nail it and you didn't even plan to do this. So I've seen a lot of these houses where you just have these super slim windows, white walls, black windows, and it's really simple and sleek. And whenever I tried this, it looked super boring and I couldn't replicate this style. And here, for some reason, it worked out. As soon as I added these black base game windows and the roof color, it just came together and it looked so nice. And I was like, hey, I tried to build this like a year ago, like this kind of style, and suddenly it worked out. And I'm really pleased with that. I really wanted to have a house like this for the longest time in The Sims, and here we are, finally it all worked out. And here I'm trying to add some stairs to this area at the top. At first I was struggling, but then I eventually made it work. I wanted to connect these areas, and as you will see later on, the floor plan is really fancy, and there is an outdoor areas between the 2 indoor areas at the top. And here I'm placing a couple of these island living glass floors, and I always mention this, but it's still modded in the gallery. You don't need the mod for this. If you want to do this yourself, you have to use the true mod for this. So you can place the lot without using the mod, but if you want to create some tool magic yourself, you have to download the mod by Twisted Maxi. I have created a tutorial for this on my channel. There you can find the download link. I explain how to install the mod and how to use it, all the basics, so you can find it on my channel. I always link my tutorial playlist down below in the description box, so if you want to do this yourself, you will find all the instructions there. So at first, as you saw, I just placed this super sized up huge glass floor on the right side, but then later on I got rid of this and I built something like, I don't know, like some type of greenhouse. I actually placed some planting pots down there, and then I started to work on the huge glass hallway. I don't even know what it is. Technically it's just a roof because it just sits above the whole build and it's super fancy, and I placed so many of these glass floors. I rotated them. I always made sure that they were kind of facing into the correct direction, and then I rotated one after another using the tool mod, and then I placed all of them up there. So at first this area here, this area you can access with your sims, and then I built like another area on top. The whole build is super confusing kind of, but the cool thing is the lighting is just so amazing in this big hallway that your sims can actually use like inside the build, because I added all these glass floors on top and it looks like super fun. The lighting can be so gorgeous, especially in Desert Valley where I built this, so I would advise to place it there. It's just fancy. Your sims can look over Desert Valley. The lighting is great, so I really love this. So at first, as you can see here, I added a glass roof, just a regular glass roof, but then I got rid of it later on and I just placed more glass floors on top and down below. I mean, technically it's supposed to be placed on a floor and then you just have a glass floor. I mean, this is why it's called this way, or at least I'm calling it this way. So here I don't even know why I thought about adding this glass roof. It didn't make a lot of sense, but here I still have the glass roof placed and then I got rid of it. And you can see how I placed a lot of these glass floors that I rotated using the tool mod around this area. And this is just for decoration and to have the super cool lighting situation down below where your sims can walk. So I just wanted to include this to just have a really creative roofing. This was tedious, I'm not gonna lie. If you just like to chill and build and you don't want to rotate a lot of stuff using a mod, and if you're like, oh my god, this is annoying, this was a bit tedious. And I like have a super high threshold when it comes to these things. Like I can rotate stuff for hours, but this was kind of like, when am I done with this kind of part of the build? But I think it was worth it because it looked really unique, and because the whole layout was so simple, it just added so much to the whole build. And here I'm building a basketball court. So I noticed that for most of my mansions, I like have really super fancy gardens and they are mostly super cramped. Like I really like to add a lot of stuff and they look really beautiful in my opinion, and they are like super over the top for most builds. But here I wanted to have a proper garden for a mansion. I wanted to have the pool area. I wanted to have this basketball court. You need city living for this. And then I just added just take a lot of lawn. I wanted this to be very open and spacious, like a proper garden where you have a lot of space to do a lot of things, not like, I don't know, super cramped in. And I used a Strangerville debug object to have this kind of lawn. You can click on the lawn itself, I noticed, so you can simply delete it if you don't like the look, and if you don't, I don't know if it bothers you, you can just delete it. It's just a debug object and that's it, but I think it looks super beautiful. All objects on top of the lawn are fully functional, so I left it. But if it bothers you that you can click on the lawn itself, on the ground, then just delete it. It doesn't add this much to the look in my opinion, but I still kind of loved how it looked, so I had to add it. It also doesn't flicker even though it's overlapping, so I don't know, I really fell in love with this object. I've also started to kind of collect some ideas in my head for eco lifestyle. I'm so excited to build with this pack for you guys. Let me know if you already have something in mind. Is there something that you've planned to build? I know not everyone is going to get it, but I'm just excited to hear if you are excited and if you have some plans. Here I used a combination of the perfect patio sofas and some Spade tables all around it. I don't know. I just felt like if I would place the sofas on the lawn, it would look just a kind of, I don't know, lost. I wanted to keep the whole lawn area super open, as I explained, but I still had to add a little something behind the sofas to make it look a little bit more confined and better. Just the seating area, not the whole lawn area. And I added the spotty lighting stripes to just have a bit more decoration. And I also added the table and some chairs. At this point, I just had to add a lot of stuff to the outer area. I included an outdoor kitchen. I wanted to have a barbecue grill and just the table, so Sims could have a barbecue. The pool is kind of close, so you can have a pool party over there and just some fun. And of course, if you have a family, you could place some playground equipment on the lawn or something. I left so much space that you could either just embrace it, so it looks really open and spacious, or you could just use the space to place a swing over there, for example. I didn't really focus on some type of family home aesthetic here, so I didn't want to include these things. It looks really minimalistic and modern, and I kind of didn't want to, I don't know, just wanted to roll with this kind of vibe. I still included some kids' rooms though, but I mean, I don't know, I don't think that anyone just kind of downloads lots from the gallery and just doesn't change anything. I think you always have to change a couple of things depending on the family that you want to move into these houses, or just, I don't know, stuff that bothers you. I think that's kind of normal. So I think it's just safe to say that there's always something that has to be adjusted. And then I had to make a decision on the other lawn area. I wanted to place a couple of things. So once again, it's still super open, and I didn't want there, I don't know, I just didn't want to place a lot of stuff, but I still wanted to have this kind of seating area. And then I decided to turn this pool into a fountain essentially. And then I just, I don't know, just wanted to have a really, really low depths and just this kind of look. So I didn't want to use a regular fountain, but just a pool and this little trick. And then I moved on to work on the interior, which was a lot of fun. I also tried to keep it very minimalistic, and I wanted to use a, I don't know, just a couple of fun fancy tricks for the kitchen. For example, in a lot of fancy kitchens, you have like the stove and the oven like separated. And I wanted to have this kind of look for this kitchen. So I have one just like the regular stove that your Sims can use. And then I just have 2 additional ones that are just for decoration. I placed them on top of a counter, and yeah, they don't work because I raised them. This is why I included the regular stove. So it's not a problem that these are not functional, but I was going for this kind of look. I used a lot of grays and white and black, just like I did for the exterior. And I also used a little trick for the kitchen counters. I included a dishwasher inside the counter, and when you size down the dishwasher, it just leaves the countertop and it looks really fancy. I learned this trick from Simarchy, like, I don't know, last year at some point. I've used it a couple of times. Simarchy is amazing. It's like Anarchy, Simarchy, like this is how it's spelled. She's just wonderful. She has so many tricks, and she publishes Sims videos weekly at the moment. And on Twitch, she has moved to Animal Crossing, I think, and I'm just so proud of her. She's just the best. I just have to give her a shout out. Whenever I'm using this little trick, I just have to give her a shout out. She's the best. I love her. She's just wonderful. And then I furnished the dining room. And I included this fish tank. I had a phase where I was obsessed with fish tanks. I watched a lot of YouTube videos about fish tanks, saltwater fish tanks. Just amazing. The most beautiful and expensive thing ever. And I learned a lot of random things about fish tanks, even though I don't own one, and I probably won't ever own one. But I watched a lot of stuff, and then I thought, hey, maybe one day this would be so cool. And there's so much stuff to learn. It's really difficult. And then I saw a video where someone had a bristle worm inside their fish tank. If you're afraid of stuff like this, like any critters, I wouldn't suggest to look this up. It's just horrific. It looks like a centipede, and it just scared me, and I was like, nope, thank you. No saltwater tanks or any fish tanks for me. I have a cat. I love my kitty, and yeah, that's it. This was like, I would never put my hand into a tank like this. And the most scary thing is that they are just hiding. Like, you don't see them and they can just grow over time and they become super big, but you don't see them. They are really good at hiding. But just the thought of something like this being in my fish tank and then I just put my hand in there to just do something is just really scary. And when I found out about this, that this was kind of a thing, I was Googling this because I was so shocked. So you have all these rocks inside a fish tank, and there is something, I think it's called live rock. So these rocks come from the ocean, like proper rocks from the ocean, and they have all these great good bacteria that you need for your fish tank. The problem is that stuff is kind of hiding in these rocks from the get-go, and then when you have them in your fish tank, some stuff can grow and live inside there, and then this is kind of how it happens. This is how most of the time these kind of nasty critters get into your fish tank. However, I then read a hilarious story about this when I was Googling this because I was so intrigued about this, because it was like a horror movie. I just couldn't look away. I just had to gather more information. And there was a guy who had one of those fish tanks, and he had a suspicion that he had one of these worms inside his fish tank because some fish were dying. I don't know, there's some signs that one of these worms might live in your fish tank apparently, and he just had the suspicion. But as I said, they are super good at hiding. So what he did was, it was night, he turned off the light and he was sitting in front of his fish tank and he wouldn't move for hours. So it was like completely dark. He was sitting there not moving, and he was just waiting until he thought that he heard something move inside there, and then he turned on the light and he saw it. So he knew that he had one of these really scary worms, and he could take the measurements that you take when you have one of these. I don't even know what you do in this case, but yeah, I thought this was hilarious. Just this guy sitting in front of his fish tank at night waiting for hours. I don't know, but yeah, this was kind of, I just had to share this with you guys because I thought it was like super scary and interesting. Sometimes, I don't know if you know this, but sometimes you get in this kind of YouTube vortex and suddenly you are interested in something random, and then it just happens and you just watch more and more stuff. Maybe this is how you ended up here. I don't know, but yeah, this was like super fun. But back to the build. So here at this point I furnished a couple of rooms, and this is kind of the master bathroom. I mean, not really, because it's not connected or directly connected to the master bedroom, but this bathroom was like the main bathroom because it looks so beautiful. I included this walk-in shower using the Discover University shower head, and it's really beautiful. And then I moved on to work on the master bedroom. I used a bed that is part of Seasons, and I just worked on this kind of custom nightstand. I used a combination of this base game nightstand and a base game shelf, and I then placed the lamps on the shelf, and I just used the actual nightstands to place some plants over there. And this is really big and just really open, big and spacious, like a suite in a hotel, like a proper master bedroom for a mansion. I really wanted to make sure to include a room like this in this house. There's also a bathroom attached to it, so this is an ensuite, and I think it turned out super cute. And I also included a couple of kids rooms, as I said earlier, and here I was going for this kind of blue and green color scheme, but I still wanted to have some pastels, so the whole color palette is still kind of muted. I didn't want to have something that's super bright because the whole vibe of this build is so minimalistic and modern. I wanted to have a bit of color for the kids room because it would be sad to have like a super monochrome grayscale kids room, in my opinion. That just has to be a bit of color and fun, but I still wanted to just adjust the whole color scheme to the rest of the build basically. And this is just another bedroom, so there are a couple of regular bedrooms for grown-ups or teenagers and a couple of kids rooms, so I wanted to have a variety. I also included some additional bedrooms too at the bottom, so there is enough space for a big sim family. And this is almost it, guys. I included some screenshots. You can find this build in the gallery. It's fully furnished, and I hope that you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching, and if you have any questions or suggestions or just anything, leave a comment down below, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye bye.